On Plus TV News now, President Buhari commissions projects in Ogun State, assures Nigerians of more federal roads completion. Troops of Operation Safe Haven rescue 3 kidnapped students of Plateau Polytechnic. Escaping Rwandans deported after dodging COVID-19 vaccination. Thanks for joining us tonight on News Now. I am Loretta Chiogo. We begin with the report that President Muhammadu Buhari earlier today arrived at Ogun State for a one-day official visit to commission landmark projects undertaken by Governor Dapo Abiodun. The state governor, also while receiving the president, appreciated him for the support rendered to Ogun State. He appealed for restructuring of federal roads traversing into the state.
Let me also appeal, sir, that the same tax credit scheme be extended to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC, for the reconstruction of the Shagamu-Ogijo-Ikorodu Expressway. This road not only leads to the largest NNPC depot in Mosini, Shagamu, it's also an alternative road to the the busiest highway in this country, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. We also look forward to the federal government approval of similar creative funding arrangements for Ota Idi-Iroko Road and Lagos-Ota-Abeokuta Road. The number of federal roads in Ogun and their strategic significance to the socio-economic development of their state cannot be overemphasized. Your Excellency, it's noteworthy that Ogun State has more federal roads than any other state in the country. Therefore, we are passionately requesting that Ogun State be accorded a special status for federal government infrastructure funding, especially on roads.
Responding, President Muhammadu Buhari assured Nigerians that 2 major federal roads under construction, the Sango-Ota Idi-Iroko Road, Shagamu-Benin Expressway, and the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, would be commissioned before the end of 2022.
I have also listened to your request to give priority attention to the Lagos-Ota-Abeokuta and the Shango-Ota-Idi-Iroko roads respectively. Let me assure the people of Ogun State that these roads will see federal government attention. We are considering extending tax credit as funding option for the reconstruction of these roads, as we have done for the 100-kilometer Shagamu interchange Papalanto-Ilaro Road. I would also consider approval of the reconstruction of Shagamu-Ogijo Road by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company under tax credit scheme. I congratulate the people of Ogun State for having such a focused, deliberate, and inclusive administration under the watch of His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun.
President Buhari was received by the governors of Yobe, Benue, Ekiti, Osun, Oyo, Ondo, and Osun states. President Muhammadu Buhari also paid a condolence visit to the family of Chief Ernest Shonekan, who died at the age of 71 this week. The president arrived at Shonekan's residence with high-profile dignitaries and security. The president also was in company of governors Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Dapo Abiodun, Mai Malabuni, and also in that company was the chairman of the APC Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, among others. During the condolence visit at the residence, there was a heavy presence of security operatives, police, military, and NSCDC in and around the premises. The troop of Operation Safe Haven, OPASH, in charge of security in Plateau State, have rescued the 3 students of Plateau State Polytechnic that were earlier kidnapped. The kidnappers stormed a private hosted Christian Plateau embassy, which shares a fence with the institution. On Wednesday, they whisked away 3 female students of the Polytechnic. Nigerian Air Force Special Forces have rescued 26 kidnapped victims while on patrol along Benegwari-Kaduna Road. In a statement, the Director of Public Relations and Information for NAF, Air Commodore Edward Gapquet, said that the rescue operation occurred when the Special Forces came across 5 abandoned vehicles with their doors ajar near Angua Yako. The rescued victims said they were traveling from Benengwari to various locations, including Kaduna, Minna, and Kano, when a large number of bandits in 3 groups suddenly appeared from the bushes from 3 different directions along the route and surrounded their vehicles. The NAF SF have extended their operations within the area with the hope of rescuing other kidnapped victims, while those rescued have been moved to the 461 NAF Hospital, Kaduna, for thorough medical examination. The governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, has said that the state will never be part of Biafra. This is as the governor stressed that the state was better in a fair and equitable Nigeria. Umahi stated this at the Ecumenical Center, Abakaliki, before others. Our correspondent in Ogun State filed in this report.
The verification according to INEC included inspection of party structure, confirmation of executive officers amongst others. The head of elections and party monitoring, Akambi Abidokun, led INEC delegation to the secretariats of the PDP, New Nigerian People's Party and Labour Party Abeokuta Metropolis.
28th October 2021. Honorable Sikiru Lai Ogundele, the state chairman.
PDP chairman in Ogun State, Sikirula Ogundele, challenged the commission to redeem its image ahead of 2023 general election.
We are not taking this platform for granted. We are well-citizen people. I mean, you are on ground, we know you. You drive the political system. Whenever you conduct your congress, you normally, because you are also part of the exercise, you go there and monitor. So at the end of the day, you ratify the officers and give us a list. So this kind of visit is for us to confirm. The list of officers we have with us in INEC, is it still intact? Have there been changes? If there are changes, have you followed the procedure of letting the commission know about the changes?
For his part, the chairman of NMPP as well as the chieftain of the Labour Party encouraged INEC to ensure a level playing field for all political parties.
It's a mutual meeting. It's been expected, honestly, and it's timely. So I appreciate that thought of coming to see us at the party secretariat to see how we are feeling and how we are doing here. So it's a welcome development, and so many things were talked about. I was able to let them know that it's generally opined that INEC has got to work on their image so that what the proverb that says, who pays the piper, they pay the tune, will not come to play. So, and I think we have spoken to their minds, and I don't have any doubt in my mind. So many things we've talked about, they have promised us they are going to work on it.
The Labour Party is hoping to see a better organized and impartial INEC in 2023.
The parties make a promise to carry out advocacy on the addition of the election center in the state.
Legislators in North Central State have passed a vote of confidence on Governor Mai Mala Buni-led caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the All Progressives Congress APC. The legislators also endorsed Governor Yahaya Bello for president in 2023. He is the only person that has shown interest in the position from the zone, according to the legislators. They spoke with one voice at the end of the one-day extraordinary meeting of the APC state legislators from the 6 states of the North Central Zone held in Abuja. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, looks to be gearing up to wrest power from the ruling party in the 2023 general elections. The governor of Adamawa State, Amadu Fintiri, said PDP governors are working in unity to achieve this. Governor Fintiri assured that the PDP will not disappoint the country if given the opportunity in 2023. He spoke when he inaugurated new caretaker committee chairman during their swearing-in.
Our supporters that have also come from the local government, I want to assure you that all the PDP governors are working together to ensure that what you are yearning for, the change you are asking, the change you are looking for, to bring in the president of this country in 2023 is sacrosanct on every one of us. And that is why we are working all year round to ensure that this party is further strengthened, because we cannot afford to fail Nigerians. Nigerians are waiting for PDP in 2023, and it is on us, your leaders, the leaders of the party in all the states that PDP control, to ensure that we get the best for this country.
Speaking on behalf of the newly sworn-in caretaker committee chairman, Professor Abba Tahir promised that they would work hard to bring the grassroots closer to governance.
Therefore, we should fasten our seatbelts to unite our people and never disappoint the governor and the good people of Adamawa State. I urge you all to make this batch of ad hoc local council leaders as the best set ever. Let us change the staggering dynamics in the political process from long time of non-performance to a short period of action and activity for the good of everyone.
A cross-section of Nigerians have reacted with mingled relief and indifference to the government's decision to lift the ban on Twitter. They said nothing was really missed on the social media platform, as many Nigerians stayed connected via virtual private networks, VPN. The government had said that the U.S. social media giant had agreed to establish a local office, among other conditions set by the West African nation, which led to the lifting of the ban. Twitter said it was pleased with its restoration in Nigeria and was deeply committed to the country.
It didn't really change so much for my social life, because I was still able to interact with a lot of people on Twitter who were using VPN. But the challenge, I would say, was that there's also a significant number of people who felt reluctant to use VPNs, or probably didn't know how to go about it because they are not so tech savvy, and others were maybe scared that if you see them with a VPN, police might harass, and all that. So there's a group of people who were alienated because of the ban, and so it wasn't a complete community like it was prior to the ban.
To me, I am really happy about it because I saw it last night, and I must say I was really happy about it. Most of us have been using VPN. It didn't really stop most of us from tweeting, but we're tweeting with fear, But now we can tweet freely and we can air our voice freely. I just feel our voice has been given back to us.
I'm not happy, neither am I excited for them uplifting the ban. Because Twitter, in time past, it has helped so many people to advertise their businesses. So what's the need of lifting the ban when they've already caused so many damages to people's businesses? So me, I'm not excited, and some persons are not so excited.
Now, a legal practitioner in Ebehe, Effiong, has added his voice to say there was no reason for the suspension of Twitter activities in Nigeria. The legal practitioner was on our political program Plus Politics earlier tonight. He urged Nigerians to punish the politicians who were complicit in the issue that led to the ban during the upcoming 2023 elections.
There was no reason for the suspension or the ban to have been imposed in the first place. As I have consistently maintained, it was a decision that was not warranted. It was a decision that was taken in bad faith. It was a decision that was taken on account of vengeance, in pursuance of vendetta, by a regime that felt slighted by what was rightfully perceived by a large section of the population as a genocidal and irresponsible tweet by the president was deleted. That accounted for the so-called ban that the government imposed. So eventually, the government had to reverse the abnormality that they had forced on the country. Those who participated in the atrocities that are being committed against Nigerians, the draconian measures, the high-handedness, the party that is complicit, the political party and the political actors who are complicit in these things that have happened, who have endorsed these things, who have been silent on the impunity of this regime, must be punished in the next election. Nigerians must, and that's the point I made on Twitter. I said, look, as citizens, we must imbibe the culture of punishing politicians and political parties that inflict pains on us. The reason why people go into offices and do whatever they like is because of the absence of the policy of consequence. They know nothing will happen. They know they will still be voted for. They will know they will still have people rally for them. But when they do these things that they know that they will pay a heavy price, people become circumspect. People begin to think before they act. So I am saying that it is for Nigerians, the enlightened population, to ensure that those who were implicit, either by their act or omission or by their silence, are punished during the 2023 election. That is the only way that one can rightly say that indeed we have learned lessons as a country. There has to be a price for this. They shouldn't get away with it. There has to be a price. Those who were silent when this ban was implemented, those who came out to support it, we must identify them and we must punish them at the pool.
Inebe Effiong speaking there about the Twitter ban and, of course, the suspension of the ban. And moving on, and Bulletin Rivers residents calling for the adoption of modular refinery clean energy. Residents of Port Harcourt, Rivers State Capital, have described the state government's fight against illegal oil bunkering and suit in the state as a welcome development. In a broadcast, the governor had declared 19 illegal oil bunkering kingpins wanted and tasked council chairmen and traditional rulers to guard their domains against the activity. We have a report.
The soot emission in Port Harcourt and its environs continues to be a major concern for residents who attribute the cause to illegal oil bunkering and gas flaring by multinational companies in the Niger Delta.
I do not think the Rivers State government is doing enough to tackle the issue of soot. If enough was being done, the governor would have released the report of the committee he set up on soot, which we've not seen the report today. But if we see that report, which is a process of investigation, we'll get to know the sources of this soot.
If the state government said the local government should clamp down on bunkering activities, it is going to be a holistic matter where responsible men of the society will be engaged to engage this bunkering. It can be a dialogue team. But if you say go and get youths, boys that are not properly fed, to go and start fighting bunkering, of course, these bunkerers will take care of these boys and then this menace will continue.
It will be recalled that in the past few months, Petron has been fighting this battle. We have been going from places to places, smoking out the operators of artisanal refinery, otherwise known as Mofire in Rivers State. We are happy that the Rivers State government has come all out through the directives of the governor to the local government chairman to fight this fight.
They suggest that the best way to curb illegal oil bunkering is by creating jobs for the teeming youths.
We here at Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, we are working at modalities of creating and establishing solar farms in communities starting this 2022, so that youths who are involved in these processes can get other alternative opportunities within and around those solar power systems. to be able to earn their living.
Diplomatic solution can also be on stream. If you arrest or clamp down on the artisanal refinery operators, you bring them to book and give them an alternative of setting up a modular refinery. I'm sure that between now and the next few months, this area would have been turned around to become an employment hub for the nation.
Is it wrong for a state government to build a refinery? Every Niger Delta state is big. They can build refineries for them, produce. If you say if it is the modular refineries, you do it and do it well. Let the boys come, engage them.
The police has a big bone in the throats of illegal oil bunkers in recent times, a move commended by the people.
And we'll now be joined by an environmentalist of engineer Adebola Shabi, who was also a one-time managing director of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency. Good to have you join us, engineer.
Yeah, good afternoon, Loretta.
Yes, good afternoon from the U.S. It's late in the night here in Nigeria.
I'm sorry about that.
All right, I've listened to your conversation on different types of pollution, and that's starting from noise to fumes. But this time around, some parts of the Niger Delta is plagued with soot. Port Harcourt and River State and its environs, with extension to neighboring Bayelsa State, have been living with soot pollution for about 5 years now. That's in Rivers. Now, the governor of Rivers State blamed this on illegal bunkering activities. Do you agree with him, or are there other factors responsible for soot?
Yeah, I heard what one of the speakers said earlier on. This is due to unemployment over there. I mean, we have all these young guys, young boys around doing nothing. Definitely they will dwell into illegal things, right? And that's why they have resulted into illegal bunkering. And unknowingly to them, that this oil, the oil we're talking about, is highly flammable. So the moment there's anything over there, any little scratch or any little light over there, there's explosion. So when there's explosion, there's going to be a lot of air pollution, some of these gases in the environment, unknowingly to them that they are also endangering their lives. Look at them doing all this illegal bunkering, not knowing that the fumes from the oil, definitely it is the PMS that are using our product, right? Now, the fumes will definitely penetrate into their respiratory tracts. Most of these boys, most of these young guys, when you take them for medical checkup, go and check their lungs. Most of them are going to have lung cancer or some respiratory tract diseases, and so on and so forth. Look at the issue of the carbon monoxide coming out from that film. The fire we're looking at now. Mm-hmm. The carbon monoxide over there now, they're definitely going to inhale this thing. It's definitely the gas, and it's going to react or deplete with the oxygen in their bloodstream, causing carbon oxyhemoglobin.
So it means you're agreeing with the governor of River State that soot is caused by illegal oil bunkering. Or I was asking if there are other factors that could be responsible for soot.
Yeah, there are other factors. I just told you. Look at the issue now that they are doing illegal bunkering, unknowingly to them that in case of any scratch over there, there's going to be fire, right? That is one of the causes of that soot. Definitely, also soot, you can get it from vehicle emission, you can get from your generators, you can get from burning of coal and firewood. You understand? So that is why the government is working on this aspect. I mean, the federal government of Nigeria is working on that aspect that we should all resort into using LPG gas.
Okay, let me take you down to, since you've mentioned the federal government, the Nigerian government had launched an initiative to reduce dangerous air pollution, and that initiative is called Supporting National Action Planning, SNAP, as an acronym. Now, this aims at reducing short-lived climate pollutants like the soot and others, just as you said. But is there really a willpower to have clean air in Nigeria? As other parts, just as you mentioned, it's not just from the illegal oil bunkering, but other fumes from the cars, from generation. Is there really a willpower from the side of the government to ensure that Nigeria has clean air?
Yes, I'm going to use Lagos State as a test case. Let me use Lagos State now. Lagos State is doing a lot on this issue of air pollution. In Lagos today now, we have what we call the vehicular emission. Your vehicles must undergo vehicular emission tests every year. So that is another source of reducing emission to the environment, number one. Number two, Lagos State has introduced this issue of the LPG gas that you see in Lagos today. I'm saying I'm using Lagos as a test. Go out in Lagos today. Most of the houses that were using stove, that were using firewood in the past, about 70 to 80% they are now using gas to cook. So that has reduced the air emission. So, but I don't know what we're doing in Nigeria. Do we actually have all these data? How many houses have resulted in using gases? How many are still using firewoods and stove? Do we have all these data? That is the question I'm asking. We don't have all these things. If we have all these data I'm talking about now, we can improve on this data to ensure before the end of 2025, we could have gone out with the issue of air pollution.
So you speak about, definitely. So you speak about the, please go on.
Look at, I said Lagos State. I'm going to use LASEPA. LASEPA is really doing a good work and doing a lot of advocacy in the issue of reduction of this air pollution. They have installed many air monitoring stations around Lagos State to capture some data, but I don't know how it has been translated now. But I know they're working seriously on this.
Okay,
with the World Bank and Lagos State government, they have procured some air monitoring stations for.
Engineer, you spoke about the LPG, and of course, it's not coming with a low price. I think I got one recently. I think the 12 kg, about 7,000 plus. Thank God it's even down a bit.
At a lower price.
So how can the country then have the data of people who can afford the LPG when the price is already very high? So they go back to things that would cause soot.
Yes, definitely, you are 100% right. That is where the federal government needs to come in now to subsidize that issue of the LPG gas, right? Mr. President, President Muhammadu Buhari, I could remember last year, it was at the Climate Change Summit in Paris, right? And he committed that Nigeria will reduce the issue of the greenhouse gases to the environment. You understand what I'm saying now? But are we doing enough? That's the question mark. The only state I think is doing its best is Lagos State. And I know with what you just said now about Governor Wike is doing its best too, but it's not only this illegal bunkering. There are many other things. Look at the oil companies over there. What are they doing to abate the environmental degradation over there? Are you with me, Loretta?
All right. Thank you.
Are you with me?
Yes, I am with you. You want to round up your comment?
What are the oil companies doing to remediate? They are not doing enough, right? Their water, underground water, and the surface water over there are highly polluted in River State. So the governor should be more proactive to let them know, to do more to that. In Lagos, we're doing our best.
Thank you very much.
I will strongly tell you, hold on a second, I will strongly tell you, look at the way Lagos State government with LASEPA is doing now. Trying to do away with the issue of the plastics too. You know, there's another thing we are not thinking about in Nigeria today is the issue of the plastic pollution. Are you getting me now? But La Sepa is 2 steps ahead now.
Thank you very much, Engineer Adebola Shabi, and do have yourself a wonderful day out there. We'll reach out to you again as time goes on. Enjoy your vacation. Enjoy your vacation. We'll see you again. Still ahead on Plus News now. Police general killed in Sudan protest. Details when we return.
I miss them.
Well, they should be on their way by now.
Will it feel like it used to? With everyone so busy these days.
It will be fine.
Suddenly, feels like I'm gonna fall. I can see all of my dreams so perfectly.
Oh, yeah, line up. Single file.
Love's not a dream at all. Somebody.
Grandpa, what was Grandma like?
She always found ways to bring us all together. It took me a while to discover how she does it.
Devon King's taste that brings us all together.
Hello and welcome. It's Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime. Nimasa This Week is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. Statutorily mandated to ensure that there is regulation and promotion of matters affecting our waters. NIMASA bears responsibility for search and rescue, shipping development, and ship registration.
NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime, showing on this channel.
You're welcome back. From other parts of Africa, the Sudanese police has announced that one of its generals has been killed while protecting protesters against the coup. This comes just days after the opening of a UN-sponsored dialogue. Sudan has been plunged into violence since General Abdel Fattah al-Burhani led a push on October 25th. Ethiopian opposition leader Eskinder Nega, recently released from prison, has said that the central government has a duty to keep the country united. Nega, the leader of the Balderas for Genuine Democracy Opposition Party, was speaking at the capital of Addis Ababa. Last week, the Ethiopian government released Eskinder and several other opposition leaders from prison and said it planned to start dialogue with political opponents. Underscoring domestic political challenges facing Abiy, the opposition party also said the central government has a duty to take back control of Tigray. It comes as the committee that awarded the Nobel Peace Prize appealed to Ethiopian Prime Minister to halt the conflict unfolding in the country's northern region of Tigray. In a rare critic of a former laureate, the Norwegian Nobel Committee said Abiy bore special responsibility for bringing to an end the fighting that broke out in late 2020. 100 of Rwandans arrived in the Democratic Republic of Congo this week. They are claiming to be fleeing the COVID-19 vaccination in their country. They have been sent back to Rwanda. The Rwandans had arrived in small groups and had settled in 2 villages in DRC. They said they were fleeing COVID-19 vaccination, which is compulsory in all public places. The islanders, however, had their own reservations about the action taken by the government. Zimbabwe's President Emerson Nagangwa has said that China would be donating another 10 million doses of its COVID-19 vaccines over the course of 2022. Zimbabwe, like most African countries, is struggling with low rates of vaccination due to non-availability issues and also to vaccine hesitancy, that's public apathy. The country has so far fully vaccinated just over a fifth of its population of 15 million people, mostly using vaccines either purchased from or donated by China. Nearly a third of Zimbabweans have received at least a single dose of the Chinese vaccine. Africa's top public health official has said that the Africa CDC is in close talks with U.S. drug maker Pfizer. The aim is to bring the Paxlovid coronavirus treatment to the continent.
The body is in talks with Pfizer about securing supplies of its COVID-19 treatment pill for the continent. Dr. John Nkengasong, director of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, said there were really close discussions with Pfizer over Paxlovid, which the drug maker says is 90% effective in preventing hospitalizations and deaths.
Because if we have another variant that emerged, like the Omicron, and just imagine if Omicron was that transmissible and also very severe and was overwhelming our hospital system, the only way to relieve that would be if we have the drugs like the Paxlovid, where people can take that drug and stay home and get relief. And that way the burden and all the constraints on the health system will be limited.
Governments around the world are scrambling to buy Paxlovid, which Pfizer says data suggests retains its effectiveness against the Omicron variant. Another treatment from Merck has faced setbacks after disappointing trial data. Nkengasong said obtaining the drugs was one of 3 key approaches to tackling the pandemic, alongside scaling up vaccines and testing. The continent has officially recorded 10 million cases, though patchy testing means the real number is likely to be much higher. Wealthy countries like the US and Britain have secured deals to buy the treatment pills, but there are concerns low-income countries will miss out, as was the case in the race for vaccines. To mitigate the issue, Pfizer has put a licensing agreement in place with international public health group Medicine's patent pool. That will allow generic manufacturers to supply versions of the Paxlovid treatment to 95 low- and middle-income countries.
And outside Africa, hundreds of people marched in a funeral procession for Omar Abdelmajid Assad, an 80-year-old Palestinian American who was found dead after being detained and handcuffed during an Israeli raid on an occupied West Bank village. The U.S. State Department said Omar Abdelmajid Assad was a U.S. citizen and that it had sought clarification from Israel over the incident which took place on Wednesday. His body was found in Jijilya in the early morning with a plastic zip tie still around one wrist. The Israeli military said it had carried out an overnight operation in the village and that a Palestinian was apprehended after resisting a check. It said he was alive when the soldiers released him. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has appealed for a suspension of rules preventing the use of money in Afghanistan. The aim is to save lives and the economy and for a path to the conditional release of frozen Afghan foreign currency reserves. Some $9.5 billion in Afghan central bank reserves remain blocked outside the country, mainly in the United States. International support given to the previous government has dried up since the Taliban seized power last August.
And allow me a few words on the nightmare unfolding in Afghanistan. We are in a race against time to help the Afghan people. Just 2 days ago, the United Nations launched our largest ever humanitarian appeal for a single country. And the scale of that appeal reflects the scale of the despair. Babies being sold to feed their siblings, freezing health facilities overflowing with malnourished children, people burning their possessions to keep warm. Livelihoods across the country have been lost. And more than half the population of Afghanistan now depends on life-saving assistance.
Russian snipers have taken part in the military exercises in Rostov region near Ukraine border. The snipers were trained at camouflaging targets, classification, fire correction, and the use of observation and targeting devices, and that's according to the Defense Ministry. Russia has perturbed the West by building up troops near Ukraine and demanded that Washington pledge not to let Ukraine join NATO or expand the military alliance eastward. This was a stipulation that the United States refused to accept. Washington has urged Moscow to reverse its buildup of an estimated 100,000 troops near the border with Ukraine. This has prompted Ukrainian and Western concerns about a possible new invasion 8 years after Russia seized Crimea from Ukraine. A democratic bill intended to protect voting rights passed the U.S. House of Representatives, and its chances were unclear in the narrowly divided Senate, where Republicans were united in opposition. The bill is a maneuver by Democrats in which the House repackaged and passed the two election-related bills as one, then sending it to the Senate under a special procedure preventing Republicans from blocking the debate. The bill was approved along party lines and will now move to the Senate. Military health workers are deploying to 6 U.S. states beginning next week to help hospitals overwhelmed by a surge in Omicron-related COVID-19 cases. The U.S. President Joe Biden said this at a conference. Teams of 7 to 25 military doctors, nurses, and other personnel will begin arriving in Michigan, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Ohio, and Rhode Island. The goal is to support emergency rooms and free hospital staff from other care. Biden's administration has deployed federal surge teams since July to battle COVID-19.
We're about to get a COVID-19 briefing from military and medical teams on the ground in Arizona, Michigan, and New York. They're part of a major deployment of our nation's armed forces to help hospitals across the country manage this surge of the Omicron virus. This surge is having an impact on hospitals. Like all healthcare workers, they are heroes, and I'm grateful for what they do. We also have helped make sure that high-quality masks are widely available in ample supply at affordable prices, sold online and in stores. But I know that for some Americans, the mask is not always affordable or convenient to get. So, next week we'll announce how we are making high-quality masks available to the American people for free.
Cabinet ministers have pledged their support for Boris Johnson as he faces calls to resign after admitting attending a drink party during the lockdown. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has cancelled a visit to Lancashire after a family member tested positive for coronavirus. Scottish Tory leader Douglas Ross and other senior backbenchers have urged him to stand down, but cabinet ministers have also urged the MPs to wait for the outcome of an inquiry into the alleged COVID rule breaking. And Mr. Ross has written to the 1922 committee, which oversees Tory leadership contests, to say he has no confidence in the Prime Minister. If 54 or more of the party's MPs do so, a vote of confidence in Mr. Johnson can go ahead, and if he loses, a leadership contest will take place. Up next, the global mining giants express interest in Nigeria's mining industry. That's in business news after the short break.
The 2022 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is here again. The Nigeria Armed Forces work tirelessly day and night to give us peace to go about our businesses. Some have paid the supreme price. Should we forget the families and loved ones they left behind? No.
I am therefore privileged to honor these veterans who devoted most of their lives, active lives, to securing the nation and the world at large.
So, let's support the Nigerian Armed Forces and their families, corporate organizations, government agencies, parastatals, and individuals. Let's show our love and support for our armed forces. They are our heroes. Buy the Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem and donate into the Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem Appeal account. We love you, and your labor and sacrifice will not be in vain for spilling your blood for us to live.
Glenfiddich means Valley of the Deer. And just as a stag loses its antlers each year, we believe in letting down our guard and seeking out uncertainty to embrace the unknown. It's how we go forward, how we grow stronger, and how we make our whiskey. Glenfiddich, where next?
Now in business, the federal government has announced that global gold mining giants Barrick Gold Corp and Rio Tinto Group have expressed interest in Nigeria's rapidly growing gold mining industry. At a mining conference in Saudi Arabia, the Minister of Mines and Steel, Olamilekan Adigbite, said Nigeria's mineral production in the mining and quarrying sector rose by 17.95%, amounting to 64.3 million tons in 2020 from 54.5 million tons in 2019. Adigbite said the gold mining companies are looking at the possibility of keying into opportunities in Nigeria. He said that the federal government intends to auction rights to mine gold, lithium, copper, and limestone in 2022. And the International Monetary Fund has predicted that cryptocurrencies' high volatility and valuation, as well as their increasing co-movement with equity markets, will soon pose risks to financial stability in countries. In a blog post titled "Crypto Prices Move More in Sync with Stocks, Posing New Risks," IMF said according to the chain analysis in 2021 Global Crypto Adoption Index, Nigeria is the sixth leading world country in the world in terms of cryptocurrency adoption. Vietnam, India, and Pakistan are the top three countries. It disclosed that the stronger association between crypto and equities was apparent in emerging market economies, most of which are leading in crypto asset adoption. And the United Kingdom and South Africa led the list of source countries for Nigeria's capital inflows between January and September 2021, jointly accounting for 65% of the total capital importation recorded by Nigeria in the review period. This is according to the capital importation report released by the National Bureau of Statistics. Nigeria attracted a sum of $4.51 billion as capital inflows in the 9-month period of 2021, representing a 48% decline compared to $4.61 billion recorded in 2020. Also, foreign portfolio investment, FPI, reduced in the review period by 46% year-on-year from $5.1 billion in the 9 months of 2020 to $2.74 billion. Still in business, France will relax its restrictions for those traveling from the UK from Friday, 14th of January. Vaccinated travelers will no longer need a compelling reason to enter France and will not have to self-isolate when they arrive, according to the government. However, a negative COVID test taken 24 hours before leaving the UK will still be required for all those traveling. France brought in restrictions on December 18, 2021 in an attempt to slow the spread of the Omicron variant. And that's all in business. I am Osaogie Ogbon.
And up next on News Now is entertainment news.
Nigerian singer and Warner South Africa artist CK's global smash hit, Love Nwantiti, was certified gold in the US. This comes after the record was certified gold in the UK and France. In 2020, the record shot up the charts across the world, topping major charts. It also made CK Africa's biggest artist on Spotify. In the US, a gold plaque is issued when a record moves the equivalent of 500,000 copies via streaming and raw CD sales. Kylie Jenner has made history as the first woman to ever reach 300 million followers on Instagram. The major milestone comes as she prepares to welcome her second child with rapper Travis Scott. Ariana Grande was previously the most followed female on the platform, and Kylie closely follows the most followed person on Instagram, footballer Cristiano Ronaldo, with over 388 million. The Keeping Up with the Kardashians star has been keeping a very low profile recently due to her pregnancy and her baby daddy's recent controversy. The armorer in charge of weapons used during the filming of Rust has sued the prop supplier. He's alleging his company distributed a mix of dummy and live ammunition on set. Armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed is seeking unspecified damages from Seth Kenny and PDQ Arm and Prop LLC. Court documents state Ms. Gutierrez-Reed said police had discovered 7 bullets suspected of being live after the shooting. It added that they were distributed among a box of cartridges with other ammunition and cartridge belts intended for the actors to use as accessories.
Let's see what we have on sports news now.
And in tennis, Garbin Muguruza powered her way into the Sydney International quarterfinals at the expense of Ekaterina Alexandrova on Wednesday. The number 2 seed found her stride early on, breaking her opponent's serve twice to take this first set 6-1. However, the Russian put up more of a fight in the second, with a trade of breaks leading to a tiebreak. Muguruza raced into a 4-0 lead in the breaker before Alexandrova saved 3 match points to stay alive in the tie. In the end, the unseeded 27-year-old sent a forehand long to seal a 6-1, 7-6-4 victory for the Spaniard, who will face Daria Kasatkina in the last 8.
In the opening set, saves some set points in the second, and then gets it done. In the opening set, saves some set points in the second, and then gets it done.
In the NBA, Joel Embiid's 8th successive 30-point game wasn't enough to prevent the Philadelphia 76ers from losing 109-98 to the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte can largely thank Gordon Hayward, who made all 9 of his first half points en route to 30 points. The Hawks also ended a run of 16 straight defeats to the 76ers, previously the longest active losing streak to one team in the league. Doc Rivers' team, meanwhile, saw their 7-game winning run come to a stop.
Miles, right now averaging career highs in every category, so no doubt he's in that conversation. Joe unavailable for the Hornets in both Sixers wins down in Charlotte. The long step back.
Oh my goodness. in that. Let's take a look at Hayward's action in the first half in transition. A little pull-up, the bucket in transition from the Bridges passes, and then here, lulling Andre to sleep, getting his shoulder square to knock.
Joel wants it back. Directing traffic, top of the key. Joel all the way! And the foul! Joel Embiid. Back to LaMelo. Floater. And it's his name, right? Bridges. Joel! And then Bridges.
And that's all the sports news we have for you for now. Join us next time. My name is Mikhail Tinubu. Have a good night.
And the main news again. President Buhari was in Ogun State today to commission projects. He assured Nigerians of more federal roads completion. Troops of Operation Safe Haven have rescued 3 kidnapped students of Plateau Polytechnic. And escaping Rwandans have been deported after dodging COVID-19 vaccination. And that's news now. For more stories, please follow us at PlusTvAfrica on Facebook and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. Thank you sincerely for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful night rest.